Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Joel Rosen. I am a burnout recovery expert and I want to welcome you back to another edition of your Adrenal Fix. Today I want to talk to you quite simply about how to have more energy. Everyone wants more energy. This means bouncing out of bed first thing in the morning, perhaps not even needing an alarm clock, having the energy to do the things that you need to do, get your to-do list accomplished before noon, not crashing in the middle of the day, that dreaded crash, having energy to think and focus clearly, and then fall asleep like a baby all night long. So 3 things that we need to look at when we're looking at recovering our energy. Number 1 is blood glucose control. So perhaps you may never have told you have a blood glucose problem, or maybe you are a little bit of pre-diabetic or insulin resistant, or maybe you're even diabetic. So what happens typically is patients that I consult with that don't have any energy, they come back and they say, you know what, doctor, my blood tests are normal, my glucose levels are perfect. And then I say, well, let me take a look at them, and sure enough, they're not perfect. So let's explain that first. There's a difference between a healthy range, which we call a functional range, and a laboratory range. And so a laboratory range has a value of every single test that you do, whether it's glucose, cholesterol, triglycerides, liver enzymes, proteins, minerals, red blood cells, white blood cells. They all have what's called a laboratory range, which means of all the people that took the lab the year before for that particular lab, they're going to average the high, they're going to average the low, and if you're within that average, you're not higher than the average person or lower than the average person, you're told you're normal. And that's a big, big problem, because potentially you could still have symptoms, you could still have no energy, and you're told your lab tests are normal. So what is a normal lab test? Typically, a normal lab test for blood sugar is anywhere between 65 on the low end to 110, which is just way too broad. So you're looking for your blood work to be somewhere in a healthy range of 85 to 99. And that means that it's a resting blood glucose level of anywhere between 85 to 99. What happens is potentially you miss a breakfast, you have a sugary food for breakfast like a bagel or a muffin or some kind of cereal or maybe even oatmeal, and there's no substantial mixture of protein and fat in there. And so what that means is that you should have a nice hypoallergenic, meaning there's not a lot of antigenic or inflammatory properties of that protein, and you're having a dietary fat. I like to make a smoothie in the morning. I use non-animal protein or a vegan protein powder. I like to use almond milk. I like to use almond butter or coconut butter or flaxseed, and then maybe I'll put some low glycemic berries in there, or coconut oil in there, and that makes a nice smoothie. And I'm going to get into carb cycling in a little bit, but basically you don't want to wake up in the morning and just have coffee, a bun, a bagel, a cookie, a croissant, something sugary, or nothing at all, because what's going to happen is your blood sugar levels are going to go down, and that's going to deplete your energy sources. So that's number 1. Number 2, you don't want to wait too long between meals. So if you first have your breakfast at 6:30, 7 o'clock, or you don't have anything, and then next thing you know it's 11 o'clock, you haven't eaten since 6:30, or you even haven't eaten from the night before, too many hours have gone by and you're roller coastering up and down, and there's no logs in the fire, so to speak, and your energy levels are going to go down. So that's a huge problem. So making sure you're eating a healthy representation of a protein, carbohydrate, and fat anywhere between every 2 to 3 hours, 4 hours tops, and having a breakfast. Now, with my adrenal burnout recovery program, I get into carb cycling, which means there are certain times of the day when you shouldn't have carbohydrates or refined sugars. And that's because like a circadian rhythm where the sun comes up in the morning and it sets in the evening, our hormone levels work in the same sort of pattern. So what will happen is you're most insulin resistant, meaning when you have sugar in the bloodstream and your insulin levels increase to get the sugar out of the bloodstream, your cells are the most insulin resistant in the morning. So when you're having a sugary food, a carbohydrate, oatmeal, a banana, whatever it may be, realize that because insulin is doing such a lousy job at this time, you're going to crash. You're going to have one of those meals where you eat something and then all of a sudden you have that crash. And that's a good sign that you're suffering with some insulin resistance. So with my recovery program, what I like to do is get into carbohydrate cycling, and meaning we're not going to have those carbohydrates till about 3 o'clock in the afternoon when you're the most insulin receptive. So that's an important concept, but suffice to say the number one way to get your energy up is to have a nice steady supply of blood sugar, not causing it to go too high or too low and roller coastering so that you're fatiguing and crashing. Number two, inflammation control. This is a doozy, but this is what it comes down to, is if we have too much inflammation in the body, and why would we have inflammation in the body? A number of reasons. Viruses, toxins, heavy metal toxicity, autoimmunity, leaky gut, parasites, molds, fungus, candida, so many things. But suffice to say, what you need to do is you need to settle your inflammation down. And we have some really, really good anti-inflammatory supplements that you can take. Number one being omega-3 and omega-6, or EPA and DHA oils. Those are wonderful, wonderful supplements that you should be taking to settle your inflammation down on a daily basis, along with vitamin D. You know, vitamin D is one of those things where you see so many patients come in and they're all deficient, and it says on the lab range it should be between 30 and 50. And research is now showing that it actually should be anywhere between 80 to 100. And the majority of the patients I see, they're less than 20. So supplementing with a really good vitamin D, anywhere between 5,000 to 10,000 IUs per day, up until you get into that 80 to 100 range, is a really good way to settle your inflammation. Other inflammatory control supplements are things like curcumin, turmeric, resveratrol, glutathione. Those are all great supplements to reduce your inflammation. Number three, gut health control. This is probably one of the main reasons why you have no energy whatsoever. Your gut health is in disarray. You have probably leaky gut, you have inflammation, you have intestinal permeability, you have food sensitivities, you may be having decreased secretions of stomach acid, so your food is fermenting and not going anywhere. You have decreased secretions of peptides and digestive enzymes, and what happens is you're not able to dissolve and assimilate and absorb your food, and then that's what's going to cause you to fatigue. On top of that, you may be developing food sensitivities to dairy, egg, soy, corn, rice, potato, so many different things. So what I tell patients to do, if they're looking to increase their energy as soon as possible, get off of gluten, which means all wheat products, no breads, no crackers, no cookies, no wheat. Also looking at getting off of dairy, so no cream, no yogurt, no ice cream, no cottage cheese. And then lastly, get off of sugar and alcohol. Those are immediate things that can help that gut repair itself and allow you to decrease your inflammation, stabilize your blood sugar, and have sustained energy throughout the day. So hopefully you found this video very, very informative. My name is Dr. Joel Rosen. This is another edition of Adrenal Fix. What I want you to do is, if you like this video, just give it a thumbs up, a share, or comment, and be sure to check out my blog at Adrenal Fatigue Society, where I provide a lot of useful information on how you can increase your energy level as well. Thank you so much.